Hi, this is Nakola Spokane, the leader and the founder of Church Covenant Solutions. Today I want to deal with a topic that speaks about things that contribute to solid spiritual growth. Things that will contribute to your solid spiritual growth. It is very important that each and every child of God pursue spiritual growth and become grown up in a way that you are able to be independent. Remember, even in the physical, we need people that would grow physically and be able to walk on their own, to be able to feed themselves and eat on their own, to be able to bath on their own. And that's the progress and milestones of physical growth. But spiritual growth has got its own milestones as well, because people that are matured spiritually, they're able to stand for themselves against even spirits that will try to remove them from God. The spirits that will come and lie to them about the word of God, that are twisting scriptures and so on. So all this, when you are matured spiritually, you'll be able to stand on your own. You'll be able to say no to no and yes to yes, of course. You'll be able to know what to eat, what not to eat. You'll know exactly where to go and you'll know where not to go. You'll know the company of the people that you need to keep and those that you have to chuck out of your life. So when you are matured, it is advantageous for you. And therefore, remember that there's a lot of wolves that are dressed in sheepskin outside. People that will come like they're looking like men and women of God. People that will come and sedition you into evil spirits and evil altars as well, and make you drift away from the work of God. But when you are matured, you are aware to discern even spirits. You are able to identify even evil spirits that are trying to bring deception unto you. So therefore, this is very important that you mature. You have what we call solid maturity spiritually. But there are things, therefore, that contribute towards that. And that's what I want to speak about, because it is very important that you're aware of these things so that you can actually focus on them. Use them in your life so that you can have what we call solid maturity in the things of God. That's very important. The first thing that I want to speak about that you need to have when you want to have solid spiritual growth is to have teachable spirit, or what we call a teachable heart. Now, when we speak about a teachable spirit, we speak about somebody who's able to learn, somebody who's open to learn, somebody who's actually having a heart of receiving when he is taught, or when you are being learned of the things of God. When you are being guided and led, when you're being coached in the things of God, when you're being discipled in the work of God, when we speak about teachable spirit, we speak about that ability to say, yes, I'm ready, and be open for new information that will teach you the ways of the Lord. There are people that are just not teachable enough. There are people that are just so hard-hearted, because as a result, when they are taught, they think that they know everything. There are those people that are a know-it-all, and therefore they cannot accept any teaching from anybody. But remember, the path or the ways of Christianity, they are actually what we call in line with discipleship. So therefore, we know that there are people that walked the path before. We know that the people that are matured already, people that walked this way. Now, because we have people that walk the way, they are grown up and matured. Those are the people that will be able to teach us the ways and the ropes of how to walk in Christianity. So therefore, you need a teachable heart and a teachable spirit to be able to learn from those people. Because if you shut yourself down and not learn, you're not going to progress at all. And you'll never have what we call solid spiritual growth. And that is why many people don't grow, just because they are not ready to receive and learn from anyone. So therefore, learn from people, have a teachable spirit and a teachable heart, of course. Secondly, that thing that will make you have what we call a solid spiritual maturity is to ensure you are in a word-based church. And this I cannot emphasize enough, that the church that you are in is very important. It contributes a lot, either in your downfall or in your spiritual maturity, because that's very important. Now, the choice of a church is very key. And that is why I want to advise people that when you choose a church, let it be a word-based church. And I know people that have ran behind and that have ran after what we call prophetic churches, that have ran behind after those we call miracle churches, those that we call deliverance churches. And people run after those because they want to see what we call instant miracles. They want to see the things that are performed there. They want to receive a healing now. And as a result, then they are running after the hand of God while they don't want the owner of the hand as a result. Because you are running after the miracles of God, but you don't want to hear much about the word of God. Now, why we speak about a word-based church? Because a word-based church will teach you maturity into the word to an extent that the miracles would actually be ignited by you. You don't have to run after anyone. You don't have to run after the so-called men of God. And therefore, you'll find yourself being able to be matured to pray for your own children in your own family when they are sick and they'll be healed, to pray for your own provision in your own house and it will be provided. So in other words, you don't need a mediator in the form of a man or who you may call him Papa, where you may call him a measure or whatever you call him. So you don't need that. So what you need is spiritual maturity that is solid, that you grow to an extent where you can actually access God yourself. Remember, God is not God of grandchildren. He's God of sons and daughters. So therefore, you are the daughter and the son of God yourself. So you can access your father, literally yourself, without actually a malume in between. So I want you to remember that, because this is very important, that we are growing on our own and becoming spiritually matured. That's very important. So ensure you are in a word-based church, because you'll be taught the word, you'll mature in the word, you'll grow to an extent that you'll understand the word and be able to interpret it yourself, and that it may be beneficiary for your life. The other thing is fully participate in a church, in church activities where you are. Because there are people that are in churches, but yet they become spectators. They fold their arms, they're watching activities being taking place in a church as if they're watching a movie, as if they come in to watch a drama. So they are not part of the church themselves. They are actually just attending and folding their arms. They're actually warming the benches in the church, but that will not make you spiritually grown. That will retard your spiritual growth. And I want to warn you as a child of God that be in a word-based church and make sure that you participate in the church, because participation helps you to grow and also to identify your own calling. Because it's difficult to identify your own calling until you participate, fold your arms, pull your socks and your arms and participate in the church and be part of the participation in the activities of the church. And that's very, very important. And that will bring maturity in you. Ensure you submit under a pastor who believes in teachings as well. Because when we speak about the word-based church, we speak about also that you ensure that you are having a teachable spirit. Therefore, you need somebody who is passionate about teaching. Because if you are submitted under a pastor that is passionate about teaching, they will teach you the word. And they will be patient with you and teach you every step of the way. Because every new believer needs to be taught the ways of the Lord. Every new believer needs to know the word of God and understand the word so that they can live by it, so that they can mature spiritually and be able to articulate the word in a proper manner. Because there are challenges along the way that you're going to need to be knowing the word yourself and being able to know what to do in front of a particular challenge in your life. So I want to challenge you as a child of God that please, if you want to have a solid spiritual growth, there are these things that contribute. And one of those, as I said, is submitting under a pastor who is interested in teaching the word of God. So remember also that you need to make sure that the teachings that are being taught are true teachings based on the word of God. And that we have said that a bit earlier, that you need a pure doctrine. You need the word of God that is clear and uncompromising. And when you have a pastor that is believing in teaching that, you're going to mature and grow. And therefore, you'll start seeing your growth coming along with it, with you. So therefore, remember that you need to submit under a church, under a pastor who's believing in teachings. The other thing is to learn to study the word on your own. Because there are people that are actually relying on the sermons every Sunday. They're relying on the preaching on a Sunday morning, and therefore they never themselves go and study the Bible on their own. This is very important. If you are dreaming of becoming matured spiritually, you're going to need to read the Bible yourself. You're going to need to know the Word and study the Word to an extent that you understand it. When you study the Word, I want to emphasize that you need to interrogate the Word. You need to raise questions about it. You need to question God about it. You need to go and seek clarity to those that know the Word better, to those that are matured already, and clarify issues that you don't understand. So therefore, that's very important that you do that, because that's the only way you're going to mature in the Word of God. So don't just read and pass. If you don't understand something, please seek for clarity. And that's the only way you're going to mature and grow. And because you need maturity and you need the growth spiritually. So that's things that will contribute towards your growth spiritually and to have that solid growth in you. The other thing is learn to pray, word-based prayers. And I want to emphasize this because prayers, many people are making a gong of noise. And they don't know how to pray. People don't know how to pray. But remember that prayer is actually more facilitated by knowledge of the Word. You can pray better when you know the Word. You can pray better when you're soaked in the Word of God and you understand the Word of God. No, therefore, the reading and studying of the Word is going to help you to pray what we call word-based prayers. Because any prayer that is not based on the Word of God is therefore an empty noise. And therefore, I want to urge you as a child of God that you seek to pray what we call word-based prayers, because that's the only prayers that are going to be answered by God when you base your prayers on the Word. And that's very, very key. And a matured Christian is actually somebody who's interested in praying what we call word-based prayers. Somebody who's able to actually make sure that every prayer that you render is actually based on the Word of God. And that's very key. So you are going to mature and grow when you do that. Now, I want you to also remember that you need to ensure you have spiritual mentor. If you want to grow spiritually, if you want to mature spiritually, you need to make sure that you have got what we call spiritual mentor. Now, this is somebody who's capable to speak to your life, somebody who's able to command some things in your life, somebody who's able to correct you, somebody who's able to rebuke you, somebody who's able to show you the way and align you to the way and make sure that they teach you the ways of the Lord. Now, that's a mentor. A mentor is somebody that you are able to ask and interrogate when you don't understand things, somebody that you can actually find out some things when you don't understand them. That's very, very key. Now, having a mentor is very key for every child of God. And I want you to remember that having a mentor is exactly like having a parent when you are still young as a baby, because you're going to need to be taught how to walk. You're going to be needed to be taught on toileting. You're going to need to be taught on how to feed and eat yourself. Now, those are the type of things that you need a parent. So therefore, in the spiritual realm as well, you need a mentor spiritually, somebody who will help you to walk in Christian walk. Somebody will actually teach you on how to feed yourself spiritually as well, and how to pray. And all these things are very key, that the mentor will align you to that, and you're going to learn a little bit more from the mentor as they teach you. Remember, there are other things that the mentor would have passed through, challenges that they would have faced before. And in that regard, you don't have to face the same challenges because your mentor has faced them before. As a result, they will warn you against the challenges that you may meet along the way. And if you evade that, you may not even face those challenges because your mentor has faced them for you. So therefore, he is coaching you and directing you in the right path so that you don't fall in the same dungeon and pit that he fallen in himself without knowledge before. So that's very, very key. And remember, as that these are the things that will contribute to your solid spiritual growth, and you need to yearn for spiritual growth yourself. I want to end up here today. Your host, Makona Spokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this great topic. Please allow me to say, join us once more tomorrow. Be part of the great topic that we'll deal with tomorrow. May the good Lord bless you, and cheers for now.